Hello, everyone. How's it going? My name is Kat, and my credentials that I hold is CPCA and CRC. I'm currently studying for my dermatology specialty as well as my auditing specialty or my auditing credential. And so in today's video, I am going to attempt to explain in the most basic terms what a medical coder does. I get that question actually a lot when I tell people my profession. They automatically think about coding in the sense of like computer coding, like JavaScript, I think is a coding program, and things of that nature. I'm not that type of coder, so I'm not very familiar with all of those terms, but I think Cobra is one too. But anyway, not that type of coding. But it's in the same vein because it's a special type of language that only a certain entity can understand. So let me explain. So if you can imagine when you go to the doctor and let's start at the beginning. When you have we're going to say a sick visit. Say for instance, if you have a really bad cut on your finger and you feel like you need to go get it checked out, the first thing you would do is contact the clinic or the hospital and set up a doctor's appointment. I need to see a doctor because I have a really deep cut and it's not healing. So they will go ahead and make that visit, and they would choose a visit depending on if you are already a patient of that facility or if you're new to that facility or that doctor. So when they take all your information, one of the questions that they ask you is, have you seen this doctor before or this provider before? And based on that, then you will be either a new patient or an established patient. And so once you make your appointment, you come in, you see the doctor, you let them know. We're just going to say doctor, but it's for any clinical provider. But you tell them like, oh, I need you to look at this cut on this finger. It's not healing. I had it for, say 2 weeks. I've been cleaning it and it's just not getting any better. It's still warm to the touch. It aches, it hurts. Sometimes there is like pus coming out of it. When I first cut myself, it was bleeding real bad. It took me this amount of time to stop the bleeding. The doctor get all that information about that cut. After that, then they will go into, okay, let me hear you. Let me listen to you. So then they take your vitals. It may happen before the visit. You may have a clinical staff like a nurse or an MA or something, or CNA, take your weight, your temperature, check your ears, all that type of stuff. The doctor will look over your body to see if there's anything else that may need addressing. And then they will go ahead and diagnose that cut as like just a wound or just an open sore or whatever they diagnose that cut as. And then they will either give you a prescription for antibiotic or some kind of ointment or nothing at all, or they will stitch you up. And then they will tell you, okay, you can follow up if needed in 2 weeks or whatever the case may be. After your visit, the doctor then goes into the medical record. Usually it's electronic because they have their little laptop or their computer on in their exam room. They type up their note based on what their findings is and what their opinions is, and based on what you reported as a patient. After that, once they close out the visit goes into the revenue cycle, or, it's the cycle for revenue. And then it'll come from the doctor to whoever else it needs to go to. Eventually ends up in the hands of a coder, which would be me or you. And then what we do is we'll open up that record. We verify a number of things, one being the provider, one being the patient, one being the sex of the patient, the date of service. And then we also look to see what the provider, if your facility the provider drops their own codes, we look and see what the codes that the provider drops. And then we go ahead and read the clinical note. And then we either adjust those codes or verify those codes. And then we submit the claim so that it could go to the insurance department. And then it'll either go off to the insurance department and the insurance do their thing. And then it'll come back to the biller, and the biller will see, if they need to bill the patient, write stuff off, whatever the case may be. So in a nutshell, basically at the coder's part, when the coder get their hands on it, is they're taking what you and the doctor said, and they're combining it together, and they're putting this in language so that it can go to the insurance company. Now, because all of this stuff is done electronically, or it needs to be simplified, the insurance company prefers a set of language that they understand, so that they can quickly process the claims. Now, this is for a number of reasons. One is because it makes it all uniform, because every person, every provider, just like every person, basically have their own language and dialect. And so, in order just to make it easier for the insurance company to differentiate between diagnoses and procedures and medical equipment and medicines and things like that, they come up with this code set where it's always going to be this letter number combination or this number combination for these types of diagnoses or these types of procedures or what have you. And those get reported. So in the instance that you come in, with a cut, there is a code set, that an alphanumeric code that's assigned to an open wound for a finger, and it gets as specific as right or left. It gets as specific as which digit, and it can get as specific as what type of wound it is, that is being treated. And then, so we take that as coders, and as clinical staff, we take that. The doctor said, okay, Kat came in because she had an open wound to her right finger. And so I take that diagnosis and I turn that into a code. So I know that my reason for my visit was my wound on my finger. Everything else was cool. Say I seen that doctor before. The scheduling department put me as an established patient. I have history in the medical record that shows that I'm an established patient. So we know that I'm an established patient. That's a key important point that we need to keep in our head. So then I came in for nothing else, just that open wound. Then the doctor, told me, we're going to give you an antibiotic. I can also take out that I came in because I needed medication monitoring, or I need some medication monitoring because I could be on some other medicines. And we need to make sure, the doctor needs to do some education to make sure that medicine isn't interacting with any of the other medications that I'm on. So there is a code that says I came in for medication monitoring. After that, then I go down to, okay, well, then what kind of visit was this? Was this a new patient visit, or was this an established patient visit? Say the doctor didn't do any other procedures. It was just a visit that they just prescribed me something. And I'm an established patient. So there is a code to show that I'm an established patient. So that would be basically, in a nutshell, what is how a coder will abstract codes from a medical record and assign that to so that it can go out to the insurance company to get come in. Let's get specific here. Let's say that I came in because I had a laceration to my finger. It was to my left finger, and I am a established patient, and there's nothing else that needed to be done. He just said, even though it may look bad, but it's actually healing, and you just gotta let it do its thing. So when I get that medical record, or when you get that medical record, you will basically code it as S61.211, because that was be the laceration to a finger, and that specific code says without foreign body, because the doctor didn't find any, fragments in there. It wasn't any metal, it wasn't any glass, it wasn't any wood or anything in there. So it was just a laceration to the finger. And he didn't prescribe me any medication. He just said that I have to let it do its thing, let it go through this, normal routine healing process. Then this is we're still in active treatment. This was the first time that I saw this doctor for this visit. So at the end of that code, there would be a letter A, and that's a whole nother video on why it's a letter A. But the complete code for my visit for that is S61211A. Then after that, then I go, in order for me to get, at the current time, in order for me to get the monetary portion of this visit, able to go over to the insurance company, that's when I need to know if I'm an established patient or if I'm a new patient. And depending on how the doctor wants to level this, like the doctor could level this as just a straightforward visit. I didn't even check, her vitals. I didn't check no other skin conditions, I didn't check nothing else. I focused straight on what she came in for, which was her finger cut, and that was it. So I'm going to level this as a level 2 maybe. And so because I'm an established patient, it would be a 99212. Okay, so once we see those levels, those codes, that will go into the EHR electronically. Typically, it will go over to the insurance company. And once they get that, all they will get is the codes. They will get that, this patient under this insurance company with this plan came in because they had a cut on their left index finger, and they was an established patient, and see if this is something that's covered under the insurance plan. And then at that point, it'll go through the rest of the revenue cycle. But that is just the coders part of the revenue cycle. That's all we do. That's pretty much it. That's it in simple terms. There's a lot more to that can be said about it, but it's basically what you do. So when when it comes to coding, you have to be really strong in reading, because that's pretty much all you will be doing is reading and basically either auditing the record to make sure that the providers pick the right levels and the right code, the right diagnosis codes. Also, you will have to be good at knowing how to research, because sometimes you would need to research some things that you're not familiar with. So hopefully that helps to explain what a coder does. Like I said, it's a lot more to go into that, but the main part of your job would be doing that, because you will need to assign codes. That's pretty much it. So I hope that helps to explain basically what I do, or what you do or will be doing. If you have any further questions, please let me know. I'm here to help if I can. And if this was helpful, I invite you to check out the rest of my channel and see if there's anything else of interest, and then subscribe to the channel. I hope that you do give this video a like and let YouTube know that I am making videos that is helping the medical coding community. And also, I hope that you always be learning. I hope that you continue your journey on to this medical coding thing. It is a great career. So I will talk to you soon.